I recently did a video talking about the need for the talk within your first two dates. And the purpose of that is to, number one, know what you want internally. Do you want to look for a Filipina relationship leading to marriage, something serious? Or are you a committed bachelor or maybe in the Philippines on a 2-week vacation? You're not looking to get heavily involved. You just want some companionship, somebody to hang out with, enjoy your vacation with. So since each of these are the polar opposite of each other, I had mentioned that you need to convey this to the Filipina that you're dating so that she doesn't get the wrong idea. Because most of the good women that you would look at and say, oh yeah, that's somebody I'd really like to hang out with, maybe build a relationship with, they are looking at dating as a pathway towards a serious relationship and marriage on a very fast timeline. Now, the best way to avoid any confusion is to divide the Filipinas into two groups. There are those that I just mentioned looking for a serious relationship and marriage. And then there are those who are just in it for the same thing you are. They're just out to have a good time. They might be in their early 20s. They're not ready to settle down. They're having a fun time. Maybe they got a job and they just want to let loose some steam on their days off. There's plenty of Filipinas, and we're not talking bar girls. We're just talking about girls you might meet there on the dating sites in the Philippines who just want to have some fun. Maybe they don't make a lot of money, and their week consists of getting off work, sitting in a boarding house, watching the fans spin, playing on TikTok. They really don't have a whole lot going on, and they say to themselves, well, gee, wouldn't it be great, because they look at the Facebook of their other Filipina friends, wouldn't it be great to meet up with a foreigner who's just here for a week or two and go to these nice places, have him take me to these resorts with him and keep him company and go to the nice beaches, nice restaurants, and stay at a nice hotel. Wouldn't that be great? So when they get that opportunity, these other women, group two, they're not looking for marriage. They're just looking to have a good time. And they know you're going to be in and out of town maybe in 3 days. In 2 weeks, there's expats who might hit 2 or 3 cities. I always recommend just keep it down to 2 if you're only going to be here 2-3 weeks, because you don't want to lose time commuting everywhere. But they know that you may only be in town 3 or 4 days, maybe a week, and we want some companionship. We want a really hot Filipina to take on our arm and go swimming with and have a great vacation. So keep in mind that when you get on that first or second date, neither of you knows anything about each other. And so it's imperative, especially here in the Philippines, to communicate to her very quickly, because you don't know if she's looking for marriage and you don't know if she's just looking for a fun time. So I've always, in the first or second date, I prefer the first date, usually over dinner, I'll ask them questions like, well, what do you plan on doing? Where, if everything goes good, this is a question I ask a lot of most Filipinos I would date. I would ask them, if everything were to go just the way you wanted it to, where would you like to be in 5 years? You don't have to ask them that specific question, but what you do want to tell them is, well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I worked here, there, I'm on vacation, and then segue into what you're doing and why you're in the Philippines. I heard a lot about the Philippines and I came out here. I'm not looking to get serious with anybody. I'm not looking for marriage, and one of two things is going to happen. And I talked about this in one of the comments from the last video. A guy was saying the very same thing, what's going to happen when I tell these women the truth? Well, the truth is the best way to go. It really is. Because when you meet for that first date and you're just having some coffee, or you're sitting there at the Jollibee or whatever, maybe you want to take them to a nice restaurant, and you're having this first date and this conversation, one of two things is going to happen. You're either talking to a Filipina that's looking for a relationship, and when you say, well, I'm just kind of here for 2 weeks, I'm looking for a good time, just somebody to keep me company, somebody that's not working so they can just take off with me to go to a resort for 3 days. If she's focused on finding a real relationship for marriage, she will hear what you say and she will say, I don't think this is going to work. And see, this is what most guys are afraid of. That she's going to say, well, no, that's not what I'm interested in. I want marriage. I want good relationship. I don't want some guy dating 3 girls. I want him only dating me. But see, the Philippines is pretty much the opposite of the dating scene in the West. In the Philippines, if you have this coffee date, and you tell her, hey, I'm just, are you interested in just going a couple days to the resort with me? And, I'm not looking for a girlfriend, but, I'd love to have your company with me. If their response is no, that's totally okay. It really is. Because all you invested in this is a couple of cups of coffee or maybe a lunch that didn't even cost you $10 and for the 2 of you. And it's like done. It's like, oh, okay, well, it's really nice meeting you, and hope you find the guy you're looking for. And it's not going to take you 3-4 weeks to find another date. It will take you maybe 2 hours, and that's if you take your time. You can go on the dating sites, or you can approach women in person. I believe approaching them in person as you're just walking around town, that's the better way to go. And just start again. The dating sites are a horrible place to find a relationship, a serious relationship. But the dating sites are actually a good place if you're just looking for some company. So what I would do is get on, if I'm just looking for some company for 4 days, whatever, get on the dating site. Don't waste a bunch of time talking either. Like, you should be able to message them at 11 in the morning, and if they reply by noon, tell them, are you open? Are you free today? Because I'm going to get lunch anyway at 1 o'clock. I'm going to eat at such and such place in the mall. Do you know where it's at? If you want, I'll treat you to lunch. Always mention that. I'll treat you to lunch. Because they don't have any money, so they're worried otherwise. The whole goal is simply to meet, not to have discussions on the chat line. Don't waste your time. Just set up the meet and say, well, I'm going to get lunch with or without you at 1 o'clock. If you want to join me, you're welcome to join me. Then you meet them. I mean, literally, it'll take you from like 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. To have another date lined up. And if that one falls through because she's looking for a serious relationship, which is very rare on the dating sites, don't believe what they put in their little tagline. I would say 90% of the ones that are there on the dating sites, they're not looking for a serious relationship. They're looking for some fun. They're looking to make some money. Honestly, that's what a lot of them are there for. So don't get into that on the dating site or on Facebook. Just make your first goal to sit in front of each other in person so you can kind of feel them out and just kind of look them in the eye and get an idea of where they're coming from, and then tell them, Friday I'm leaving for wherever, Bantayan Island. It's a bus ride and then a ferry. I'll be there for 4 days. Do you want to go? Now, in the Philippines, it's simply understood. If the date is not going to end in a couple hours, if it's going to go overnight, everybody knows where this is going to go. So if she says yes, well, you make your plans and off you go. If she says, oh no, I'm not the kind of girl that's going to go with a foreigner for 3 days. No, that's not me. It's like, okay. And again, like I said before, nice to meet you. Move on to the next one. It's 1 o'clock when you meet, and now it's maybe 3 o'clock. you can literally have another date lined up by 5 o'clock for dinner. So be honest, be straightforward, and expect you're going to be talking to one of two Filipinas. Everything moves real fast. Here, in the States, you date somebody a while and then, like maybe 2-3 times. And maybe on the weekend, you date someone else because you're kind of like seeing who it is that you're compatible with, that you really want to spend time with. In the Philippines, the women that are looking for a solid relationship, they want exclusivity starting from the first date. And don't be surprised if they want you to meet their parents on the second or third date. I'm not kidding. And so when you're meeting these Filipinas, think of them as those two groups. The ones that are looking for a serious relationship going to marriage, and they're going to want exclusivity. So the moment you say, well, yeah, let's go to this resort for 3 days. And then she'll go, and then, how long will you be here? And don't be surprised if they go, are you going to be dating other girls? Just tell them, yes, I probably will. I'm going to go to Bacolod, or I'm going to go to Cebu. I'm going to go to wherever. And then well, a girl that is not looking for a relationship, who's just looking for a fun time, she's not even going to ask if you're going to date other girls. She doesn't care. So it's, like they say, honesty is the best policy. You don't need to go in and lie and promise them marriage when you have no intention of that. Just be honest and say, look, this is where I'm coming from. This is what I want to do. Are you interested? You're not interested? Okay, well, nice meeting you. 2 hours, you can have another date. And if the response you get is, hey, let me pack my bags. Sure, I'm not working. I'll go 3 days with you to a resort. Well, now you're both on the same page and everybody's happy.